iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Everybody, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. Just when I think I'm going to turn to baseball full time, there's football news. So I got to cover it. 2 big pieces of football news. Maybe 3. How about 3? I'll do 1. Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy G. Highest paid quarterback in history. Until Kirk Cousins signs? I don't know. 49ers sign him 5 years. $137.5 million. Worth every penny. Worth every penny in my book. Why? I know that's a fortune of money. But where would you be as a franchise without Jimmy G? Jimmy G gives the 49ers hope. He sells jerseys. He fills seats. He's a great-looking guy like Tom Brady. Women are going to love him. Kids are going to want to be like him. And men are going to be happy that he's their quarterback. What more can you ask for than Jimmy Garoppolo? Plus, he's a proven winner already. I know he hasn't won so many games. He hasn't started a whole season. But you know what? In the short time he started, did they win? Yes, they did. You have to pay the guy. What's your option? Giving Mike Glennon $16 million? I'd much rather give Jimmy Garoppolo $27 million than Mike Glennon $16 million, because here's what happens when you give Mike Glennon $16 million. I want you to go to the toilet, I want you to put $16 million in it, and then flush it. That's what you're doing. You're flushing money in the toilet. At least Jimmy G gives you a chance to go to the playoffs. There's a glimmer. There's hope. Right? When you're the 49ers, what do you need now? You need hope. That's what you need. So I think he's worth every penny. I have no problem with them giving him the money. And good for him. And when I'm out in Vegas, I will have a Jimmy Garoppolo jersey. I promise you. I really want one in white. Not the red one. I want one in white. But I don't know if I can find it. We'll have to see. I'll be working on that before September. 2. ESPN Titans reporter Cameron Wolfe says DeMarco Murray going to be released in the offseason. Yeah. Got it. Let's be drafting Derrick Henry. This is an easy one. This is a no-brainer. No reason that you need Murray when you have Derrick Henry. And if you weren't sure about Derrick Henry, watch some playoff game film. And then you know what you'll be sure of? How good he really is. Next. Rob Gronkowski. Could he retire? I'll say this. My answer to this question of whether or not he can retire is maybe. Maybe. But I would say this. I would say that if I'm Gronk, I will play as long as Tom Brady plays. Because I don't want to be there without Tom Brady. That's for sure. But I think if Tom Brady's there, I'm a guaranteed Hall of Famer if I continue on this where I am. He's probably a Hall of Famer now, to be quite honest with you. But isn't he a Hall of Famer for sure in a couple more years? Can't the legend of Gronk grow even more? So, look, Gronk has made money. I don't think there's a question of that. I think there's a question of, will he have his faculties in a couple of years after taking so many hits? Because he's a very physical player. So I think it's a legitimate question. But I still think that Gronk talks to Brady in the offseason. He says, yo, Thomas, dude, TB12, what's going on? We in, we out. What are we doing? Let me know. Let me know what we're doing. And Brady goes, we're in. So I think Gronk goes, I'm in. I'm in if you're in, dude. And that's the right thing. You never leave Tom Brady. I mean, you don't leave a legend. You're going to have a shot at the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game every year. So why leave? McDaniels is still there. I say Gronk comes back for one more year. It could be two, but one more for sure. But that's some big news. That's some big news in the offseason. All right, so let's be watching that very carefully news about Gronk. Okay, let's talk about fantasy baseball. Now, there's something I want to talk about to you today that I think is very important. It's player speak. Now, there's coach speak and there's player speak. I love when a coach goes, we're going to try to get Devontae Parker the ball. We're going to go to him a few times a game, and then it doesn't happen. But players are just as bad as coaches. Players are legitimately just as bad as coaches. Colton Wong, and you can check this out at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Colton Wong says, I don't need to bat first, and I think I'm going to steal 20 bases this year. Really? Well, let's take a closer look at Colton Wong, who I like, by the way. Okay? I think he's a good player. But I ask myself this question. 2014 was the last year he stole 20 bases. In 2015, he stole 15. In 2016, he stole 7. In 2017, he stole 8. So in the last 2 years, he's stolen 15 bases. And now Colton Wong is saying, hey, I think I'm going to steal 20. Batting 8th in the order? Really? Chow, please. I don't see it. So when you get a piece of information in the offseason, let's take it with a grain of salt. Maybe Colton Wong should say, I'd like to run more. Not, I expect to steal 20. I like to run more means I'll get a dozen. 20 means I look like a fool when I don't do it. Because I think he will look foolish because I don't think he will do it. So when we see a player speak like that, we have to differentiate what is possible and what is impossible. Is it impossible for Colton Wong to get 20 stolen bases? Well, no. But when you only had 15 the last 2 years and you're batting 8th in the lineup and the pitcher's batting behind you, do you really think you're going to get 20? Probably not. Do I think he's better than a replacement player at the end of your draft? I do. He's not a bad player. He's got a little pop. He's got a little speed. He's not a bad little player. I mean, in 2014, he actually had 12 home runs. That's gone down and down. But I think if the guy ever did get 600 at-bats, he might have 10 home runs and 15 stolen bases. Wouldn't be a bad player. I could live with that kind of player. But you're not stealing 20. Right? Here's another one. This is a big one here. David Price says, I'm in Fort Myers and I'm feeling great. Ready to get started for opening day. Okay. You're 32 and you threw 74 innings last year. You came into the season with huge elbow concerns, and you didn't have surgery. How do you feel about drafting David Price? You going to take him? I don't know if I'm going to take him. I'll tell you this. Would it surprise me if he threw 170 innings? No. Would I be happy if he threw 170 innings? Yes, for him and his owners. But what if I told you he would throw 62 innings and go for surgery? Would that shock you? No, it shouldn't. He's got elbow concerns. So, if you're going to draft David Price, let's watch how he looks in the spring. But it's only the spring, right? He pitches 3 innings, he goes plays golf. He pitches 3 innings, he goes hangs out on the beach. I could probably hang out with David Price if I go to a local beach here. Hey, David, what's up? How'd you pitch today? Good, 3 innings. Oh, take it easy, dude. Don't overwork yourself. Yeah, you're right, Dr. Roto. I got elbow problems. Come on. So the spring is only going to be 3-4 innings at a time. He's not throwing 7 innings. And trust me, he's not ramping it up to 95 miles an hour. So if David Price is your SP2, you're in trouble. If he's your SP3, great. And if he's your SP4, awesome. That's the best case scenario, is if he's your SP4. But I got a guy for you. I got a guy who I think might just be the comeback player of the year. That's right, I'm saying it, the comeback player of the year. And I was reading a very good article on him, right? In the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Rebuilding Gregory Polanco, right? He went back to his workout roots to avoid losing another season to injury. So he's going back to the guy who trained him when he was younger, right? Kelvin Torrero and said, I'm ready. I left Kelvin for 1 year, Polanco said, and you saw what happened. Well, baseball is physical and baseball is mental, right? Baseball's both. If you're not physically healthy, you can't play well. And if you're not mentally healthy, you're not going to play well. And if Gregory Polanco attributes his injuries to not being healthy and that he's got to go to his old trainer, and now that he's back, that changes his mindset. I love hearing things like that. That's a nugget of information I took away. He was awful last year. But is he an awful player? I don't think so. I think if we can get 580 at-bats, we can see a 2020 season. So I'll be in on Gregory Polanco. He's 26. If I told you he was the comeback player of the year, would you be shocked? I don't think I would be. He's that talented. And now, with Andrew McCutchen gone, they're going to need him more than ever. You got Josh Bell, Josh Harrison, Colin Moran, Jordy Mercer, Starling Marte, Adam Frazier. You're going to need Polanco in the middle of that lineup. So, yeah, I really think that Polanco could have a good year. And I'm buying. He was a 9th round pick of Jim Bowden at the FSTA. I love that pick. I thought Jim did a great job. And it's interesting. Let's stop there for a second. Let's look at that fantasy baseball draft for a second, and let's look at what Jim Bowden did. Right? Because he's a general manager. He knows things. He knows people in the industry. You think? Trout, Seager, Donaldson, Ohtani, he bought in. Martinez, Hosmer, he bought in, thinking he was going to end up somewhere else than Kansas City. Jones, Puig, Polanco, 9th round. Cueto, Aaron Sanchez, Castro, McCann, Gardner, Victor Robles, Chad Green, Ian Kinsler, nice pickup in the 19th round. So he did a really good job. Then his last pick was Sungwon Oh, who I talked about as possibly being the new closer for the Texas Rangers. So Jim figured out how to take some good risks, good veterans, good upside. Kinsler and O, veterans. Polanco, good risk. Ohtani, interesting risk. Hosmer, interesting risk. You have to mix up your team. When you draft, you can't just draft all an upside. And you can't just draft veterans. You need a nice mix. Some young, some old, some upside, whatever it is. That's how you win a fantasy baseball league. Okay? Do you know how else you win a fantasy baseball league? And I'm not joking when I say this. You read Sean Childs' team outlooks. They are so in depth. And the dude must spend like 10 hours a team. Now, I'm going to give you my teams in a nutshell series, which is going to start, I think, next week after my labor draft. All right, my labor draft is Tuesday. I think Wednesday I'll review it, and then I'll probably start it maybe at some point late next week. Right? My fantasy in a nutshell series. But I'm giving you quick hits. Boom, 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 boom. Sean's giving you in-depth stuff there. Absolutely terrific stuff. And it's exclusive to Scout Fantasy Sports. Okay? So check us out. And of course, where else are you going to go for DFS Insight? I got to tell you the story. This is a true story. So I'm on Twitter yesterday, and some guy, let's see, at DRail2020 says, I cashed last night to the Scout DFS NHL Optimizer. And I was like, really? So you know what? I literally go on to the NHL Optimizer, click Optimize, put the team in, put it in a 50-50. Boom. I just won. It was that easy. I am not joking. I literally pressed Optimize, saw the players, entered them exactly on FanDuel in a 50-50, and won. That's the easiest money I've made all week. Easiest money I made all week. So I beseech you, I implore you, ScoutDFS.com. Go there now. Win. Steve Renner on fire for NHL. On fire. Make some money. It's Valentine's Day. Come on. Don't be skimpy. Treat your wife nicely. All right, but right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. I wish you all a wonderful weekend, and I hope you have a great time no matter what it is that you do. If it's cold by you, keep warm. And if it's warm by you, get outside and have fun. This is Dr. Roto saying be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!